Prepared through character development and spiritual guidance, physically challenged by preparing for athletic competition, and prepared to be leaders in their careers through the structure of military discipline. Lyman Ward Military Academy, over a century of preparing youth for the work of life.
Sportz Blitz Live is on the air. News, scores, predictions. Sportz Blitz Live with your host, Brett Pritchard, Luke Robinson, and Randy Lee. Call 800-782-0108. Auburn.
45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back.
Alabama.
38 pounds and 80 yards.
And the latest in high school sports.
Yes, he is. Touchdown.
It's Sportz Blitz Live now. Brought to you by S&S Discount Tire and JR's Sports Bar and Grill.
Hey, everybody, and welcome into Sportz Blitz Live. Luke Robinson, soon to be joined by Brett Pritchard. We'll have a lot to talk about tonight. You know, we say that every week, that, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. This week, we're not kidding, man. There's a lot to talk about, and we'd love for you to call in 256-234-6464, 256-234-6464. Let me go ahead and tell you about our guests so you can stay tuned for them. Maybe you can get some phone calls in beforehand. David Cloninger, who's been on with us before from the state newspaper in Columbia, South Carolina. He's going to be on to discuss Will Muschamp and the hire of him by South Carolina. We'll certainly be talking about that from Auburn's perspective, no doubt. We're also going to have Cole Kubelik on. You might remember him as a former Auburn player, but you might know him now as an analyst for the Alabama Media Group, also a radio host with 730 The Ump in Huntsville. He does a fabulous job, and I think the one thing everybody knows about Cole Kubelik, he'll tell you exactly what he thinks. He doesn't sugarcoat things, pro-Auburn, anti-Auburn, he doesn't care. He's going to come out with what he thinks is the truth, and it always makes for a very interesting conversation. We look forward to having him on with us. Talk about the SEC championship game, obviously, but that feels like a million years ago. Here's the thing. I watched the whole game, watched it again later on just to try and know a little bit more about it. And frankly, that game was what we thought it was. It was a little blasé. It just wasn't, there wasn't a lot of juice to that game. But that being said, there's a lot of juice to the fact that Alabama wins its 25th SEC championship. And when you put that in perspective, the next two teams behind Alabama, Georgia and Tennessee, have won 13 and 12 titles respectively. So Alabama by itself has won the same number of titles as those two teams combined. That's pretty impressive. Derrick Henry, I thought, did absolutely nothing to hurt his Heisman campaign, and we'll talk about the Heisman. Should Christian McCaffrey sneak in there and get this thing? Deshaun Watson, he seems like the darkest of dark horse now, but who knows, in a race like this, this could end up being the tightest race in history, or it could be a Derrick Henry blowout. I don't think anybody has any idea how this Heisman race is going to pan out. We'll talk about the playoffs. There's something that certainly we can get into. Alabama and Michigan State playing in Dallas, Oklahoma and Clemson playing in Miami. That's another fantastic matchup. And all the bowl games. We can talk about any number of those if you want to. Auburn's bowl game against Memphis. I think Auburn got a really bad draw, not just from the Birmingham perspective, and when we could joke about that all day, certainly if you want to, but in the end, I think going to a bowl game is a positive. I think the problem is Auburn's playing a Memphis team that's going to come in with a lot to prove and an NFL-level quarterback, and he's going to throw all over that battered secondary that doesn't have a coach right now. So I think that's going to be an issue. Coaching changes in general for both Alabama and Auburn and really all over the country. Mark Richt back at Miami, I don't think he was that hire had been made when we were on the show last Tuesday. So we could talk about that if you want to. Just a ton out there. So please get your phone calls in, 256-234-6464. We would certainly love to hear from you. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, Brett Pritchard will be out here to join me. We'll see you in just a second.
The opening segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Home Place Mortgage of Auburn and Lake Martin, the region's best mortgage professionals and rates for all new or refinancing mortgage services. Come to the right place. Home Place Mortgage of Auburn and Lake Martin. Visit homeplacemtg.com. Advanced Heating and Air is East Central Alabama's certified train comfort specialist. That means the pros at Advanced make you the focus with superior service on all brands, 24-hour availability, and in most cases, same-day response. Advanced Heating and Air is exclusive with Train Heating and Air products that deliver the longest reliability and great energy efficiency with an amazing 0% 60-month financing package on all new Train products. The best service contacts in the region, and all pricing is upfront so you have no surprises. Advanced Heating and Air, where your comfort is our #1 concern.
DHK Tire and Lube in Dadeville has everything your car needs to keep you rolling. Tires, oil changes, brakes, and most mechanic work. DHK Tire and Lube can have you in and out in no time without busting your budget. Conveniently located at 321 East South Street in Dadeville, DHK Tire and Lube is a locally owned and operated company that keeps you and your car's best interest at heart. Stop by today or call 256-307-7276. That's DHK Tire and Lube in Dadeville.
No matter where your day takes you, a water heater from Blossman means a reliable hot shower when you need it.
Here's the deal. Standard tank propane water heaters for only $99. Free installation.
If your New Year's resolution is to stop walking and start riding, then resolve yourself to run to Lake Martin Truck and Auto on Old Dadeville Road. Lake Martin Truck and Auto is the bank, and you don't need to worry about past credit, getting your tax money, or finding the ride that suits you, because Lake Martin Truck and Auto has the lowest down payments and monthly payments in the area with the best selection. Don't let the Slick City dealer take all that tax money or hassle you with credit. Walk in, ride out, all at the Walking Man's Friend, Lake Martin Truck and Auto, Old Dadeville Road in Alex City.
What better way to start the new year than by saving a ton of money on a new set of tires at S&S Discount Tire Pros. S&S Discount Tire Pros offers great tire brands like Bridgestone and Firestone. All tires and service are backed by their nationwide warranty, including free roadside assistance with every purchase. Bring in the new year at S&S Discount Tire Pros, located in Alexander City and Dadeville, or visit online at snsdiscounttirepros.com. With savings like that, you'll be ahead all year.
Ready to put some fun in your life? Whether it's Central or East Alabama, North Alabama, West Georgia, or wherever you're from, Fun Carts of Opelika is your authorized E-Z-GO kart dealer that has no limits on a perfect E-Z-GO kart. Whether it's a fully customized kart or a stock-made kart, we'll deliver it on time and at the best price. Fun Carts gives you the service after the sale, so no matter if it's hunting, tailgating, motorhoming, fleet rental, or just a better way to get around, Fun Carts of Opelika has it and will customize it to your needs. Visit us in Opelika or call us or visit online for the best E-Z-GO carts. Put a little fun in your life with Fun Carts of Opelika.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Bice Motors in Alexander City. Brian and his crew offer the latest lines of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram vehicles, as well as the best used inventory around. Guaranteed lowest price. Bice.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sportz Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S Discount Tire. Brett Pritchard, Luke Robinson here with you till 9 o'clock, and I heard you on the way over here from JR's, Luke. There's a lot to talk about, seriously, tonight. I don't think we were ever at a loss for things to talk about in this program, but, well, it's going to be packed tonight. I got some great guests on the program. Alabama wins the SEC Championship and the playoff. We'll talk about the 4 teams in the playoff, how they got seeded. We'll talk about the bowl schedule. Auburn going to the Birmingham Bowl. I don't think there's many Auburn people at all. I haven't found one that's excited about that whatsoever.
Well, you can't. I mean, the thing is, look, we can go there first, I guess. But the thing about a bowl game, you have to do it.
Practice, unless you're Missouri.
And I almost, in a sense, feel sorry for some of the smaller bowls. I mean, I shouldn't feel sorry for them because they obviously make money doing this, or they wouldn't keep sponsoring them. But it's a shame. I don't think for the Birmingham Bowl, it's a huge coup to be able to have Auburn. I would think it's going to give them some more exposure in state, which I think would be a positive. Because maybe people will go have a pleasurable experience, and then next year when it's South Carolina and who knows, Houston, then maybe they'll go again because they had so much fun the time before. Who knows? But you have to do it because it is essentially another spring practice, and you need that practice. But
you need the 14 practice.
Somebody brought up a good point on Sports Call. They said after Auburn went 3-9, the next year they almost win the national championship,
didn't help them
and didn't have any. But maybe they needed to not have any practice to get all the Gene Chizik off of them.
Well, Gene Chizik hadn't been that bad for North Carolina this year, although they lost in the ACC championship game. I don't think anybody thought they'd be there, but they bookend the season with losses. The first game against South Carolina and the last one against Clemson. But, man, they were an onside kick, and, I mean, a bad call by the officials. I mean, we have seen, man, that has been a recurring theme all year long, from the NFL down to Pee Wee football. I mean, it really has. And
the one thing I would add about that is, okay, yes, North Carolina should have had the ball, and I agree with you. And I thought it was a bad call. I don't think there's any way around it. But they still would have had to score and get a 2-point conversion.
I know. The cards were stacked against
them. It's the
them.
way people phrase it. I don't mind everybody saying it's a bad call. It's obviously a bad call. I think people saying they got robbed. Well, there was still a lot that had to happen.
In the day and age of review, though, Luke, I mean, you'd be amazed.
Right.
I'm amazed that there's as many calls still missed as there are gotten right with reviews. I mean, and look, I'm not going to call anybody out.
But you can't review that one is the problem.
No, you can't. But I've seen more flags picked up this year after penalties that were for certain. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to say what game it was, but you can probably tell which one I'm talking about when you go back. But there was a blatant face mask call in a high school game this year, and the official dropped the flag, and they huddled up and they took it away. Look, I don't understand how you can overrule that, how you saw that penalty, whoever that official was, and then he was allowed to get in a huddle and go, well, maybe I didn't see that. Maybe I saw him get his – I don't know. And then the head official goes, well, did you see it or not? And he's like, I don't know if I saw it. Well, if you don't know if you saw it, you got to wave it off. Okay, if you can't definitively say, I don't know what I saw, but I think we huddle up too much a lot of times. I think he saw the play happen just like we all did. He threw the flag. He was talked out of the penalty.
I agree with that. And again, I know the play you were referencing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a face mask too. You got to remember, high school officials don't have the luxury of replay, which that wouldn't have been
we can't replay a penalty anyway.
But you go back to some of the things. For instance, an Alabama fan would love to have gone back to the Ole Miss game and reviewed the illegal man downfield. That is not a reviewable penalty. Which when you hear these, you go, well, then why do we have it at all? Because if we can't, if we're going to miss, if we're saying it's okay to miss
why are some things reviewable and others
right.
not?
But that's a debate for probably the summer. In the end, Alabama wins the SEC championship, and I think that game went about the way we thought it would. I mean, Florida ended up with 14 points, one on a punt return and one on a Hail Mary, which I couldn't believe was complete.
Smoke and mirrors.
I'm going to tell you what, Jim McElwain is a witch doctor to be able to get that team, I don't care how bad the SEC East was, with that quarterback into Atlanta, because I'm telling you, Treon Harris, one of the worst starting quarterbacks I've seen in the SEC.
Let me just say fortunate, because Vanderbilt should have beat them.
True.
Vanderbilt shanked a punt, and they got one first down. That's all they could manage. And if he just gets a decent punt off, they don't even get across midfield to have a chance to kick a field goal to beat Vanderbilt. Tennessee gave them a game. They were up 14 with 4.5 minutes to go. There's no reason, or 13. They should have never lost that ball game. I mean, Tennessee was the year of giveaways. They gave away the Florida game, they gave away the Oklahoma game. It cost them. They ended up going 9-3. Did they go 9-3?
Tennessee, I think they went 8-4.
Okay, well, the two of them were gifts.
Because they lost to Alabama, Arkansas,
and Oklahoma.
Florida, and Oklahoma.
That's it. So, I mean, the Florida and Oklahoma game, definitely should have been wins for Tennessee.
Well, they were up double digits in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's it.
That's a problem.
And then here's Ole Miss. Let's take Ole Miss, for example. Obviously, they had to have some help at Alabama, and Alabama turned the football over, but they went on the road and got the win at Bryant-Denny. So what do? They go to Florida and get killed. I mean, so they get killed, but still they got the tiebreaker advantage over Alabama with a one-to-one loss. But then they have the fluke of fluke plays all year with the Arkansas game. And, you know, it's just like this was, and I said it before the season started, Luke. You can go back and rewind our shows. I said Ole Miss may come out of the West this year. I was the one that was really hot. I said they'd go 10-2. They actually went 9-3. But if they were able to get to 10-2, they'd have been in Atlanta. They would have had a chance to play for it. They just can't do it, man. I mean, they just can't get out of their own way. And this was the best opportunity since Eli Manning was at Ole Miss for them to go to an SEC championship game.
Well, and we'll never know because you never, and everybody says that.
But they demolished Mississippi State.
I'm going to tell you, I believe that if Ole Miss had beaten Arkansas, they would have found a way to stub their toe.
They probably would have lost to Mississippi State.
They have a self-fulfilling prophecy of not having success. I think that until you get over that, you keep doing that. It's very hard to break that cycle. And Ole Miss just hadn't tasted success in a long time. And so when you hadn't, you get to the edge and you clam up. I think that LSU might have beaten them. And I know LSU looked awful against them. I'm just saying.
But you never know what the mindset would have been.
You never know what the mindset would have been. Of course, the Heisman's coming up. And, let's talk about the playoffs first.
We got the coach. We'll go ahead and go to a break first. We got the coaching carousel, man. So many coaching changes just in the SEC.
And there is some news in the coaching carousel since probably you came over here. There's a report on the Auburn website that says that Charles Kelly is going to stay put at Florida State.
Wow, okay.
So now where does Auburn turn?
And former Auburn football player Charles Kelly. So, I mean, that's something that you got to think about. I will say one more tidbit, and this is totally out in left field, but the Golden State Warriors, as I'm looking right here, they're up big again. This is phenomenal.
This
is unbelievable.
It's going to stop because it always does stop, but
for
the moment, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, this thing's it's at a record pace. It's will never be done again. It's just one of those things where every night everything goes right for them. So, but anyway, we'll go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we'll continue these discussions, take your phone calls. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR's Sports Barn Grill and S&S Discount Tire right after this.
I'll finance it at 4%.
I'll do 2%.
Okay, 0%.
This week at Hyundai of Auburn, the Battle of the Banks. Battle of the Banks. And you win. 26 lenders get you the best rate, best terms, plus up to $9,000 discounts, payments from $159, and as low as 0% with a grand bonus cash. The Federal Reserve is going to raise rates. Lock in these low rates today. The Battle of the Banks. The Battle of the Banks. You win this week only at Hyundai of Auburn.
In a world that's ever-changing, you have to be sure that your choices are the right choices. At Central Alabama Community College, you'll know you made the best choice. Whether choosing a technical degree program, taking courses to transfer to a four-year college or university, or being a part of our national championship winning traditions, get a sharper focus on your life by choosing one of our 3 convenient locations: Alex City, Childersburg, and Talladega. Central Alabama Community College. Central to you. Central to your success.
It's here, the model year end closeout with the lowest prices of the year at Lynch Nissan of Auburn. The 2016 Nissans are here, and the 2015s have got to go. Hurry in now for the biggest discounts of the year on Altima, Maxima, Rogue, Titan, Frontier, and more. Available with zero down and easy financing, like 0% for up to 6 years and no payments for 90 days. The model year end closeout is on now, and all 2015s must go at Lynch Nissan at Auburn, I-85 at exit 51. Online at lynchnissan.com.
Wow, your carpets look fantastic.
Yeah, thanks to Peaches and Clean.
They look new again.
They also clean my kitchen tile.
Simply amazing. I'm calling Peaches and Clean today.
Just call 502-5326. Oh yeah, they have an area rug cleaning facility too.
Peaches and Clean is now expanded to the Alexander City Lake Martin Market. Give them a call at 334-502-5326.
What's the #1 pontoon in the world for look and performance? It's Manitou. With V-Tune technology that delivers more speed and dominates handling, all with the comfort, style, and luxury that tops the pontoon industry. Lakeside Marina on Lake Martin is the #1 Manitou pontoon dealer in the state of Alabama with superior pricing and service after the sale. Get invoice pricing on remaining 14s and see the 15 models in stock. And Lakeside is your Kawasaki personal watercraft dealer with a huge selection. Make sure to see our new used Supercenter up the road and find out why Lakeside Marina is #1 for a reason. For over 30 years, Tallapoosa Ford has been your family-owned auto dealer for hot trucks and SUVs. Now they're raising the bar even higher. The Ford F-150 has been the best-selling truck in America for the last 38 years. And the hot new 15s are hitting the scene, and Tallapoosa Ford and Ford trucks are #1 for a reason. America's best truck, combined with our award-winning service department for the region's best warranty work and great maintenance and service.
Hello, this is Jeff with Tallapoosa Ford. Ford trucks have led America's truck sales. Come by today and get your best deal on America's best truck. We don't want all the business, just the opportunity to earn yours.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Dark Insurance, offering insurance for all your personal needs, including auto, boat, homeowners, and disability. Don't be in the dark. Call Dark Insurance at 256-234-5026.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sportz Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S Discount Tire. Here with you till 9 o'clock. Give us a call, 1-800-782-0108, 256-234-6221 or 6464. We got 3 numbers there for you to call. Luke, it starts with the coaches that are leaving. We got the playoffs, all that to talk about. We got some great guests coming up here over the next 2 hours to talk a lot about what's going on. We'll start with Alabama and Auburn. Alabama, Kirby Smart leaves to go to Georgia, his alma mater. It was thought that Will Muschamp, if not offered the South Carolina job, might follow him over there to be his D coordinator. They're very close. Both of them played together, and both of them went to Georgia. Will Muschamp's offered the South Carolina job, I think, about 3rd or 4th down the list in offers, but nevertheless, he is. And, man, the fallout, the interesting thing about that is, man, the South Carolina fans are not excited about this hire.
I don't know how you could be. It was just announced. Well, I don't know if it was necessarily announced by South Carolina, but there are strong rumors Ellis Johnson may be joining that staff.
Oh, my
Also,
goodness.
his former offensive coordinator from Florida in the last year when they got fired, maybe joining. I mean, it's like a who's who. I mean, it was Dubose and Mike Shula.
Well, I just figured that.
Price
I tell you who I would have liked to have seen over there at South Carolina with Will Muschamp, and that was Lane Kiffin. I would have liked to have seen the sideshow that would have been.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I think that pairing was closer than you think, because there's also a chance, and I would say a very good possibility, Will Muschamp could have ended up on Alabama's staff if he hadn't gone. If the South Carolina
but Nick Saban would have been there. I'm talking about with those 2 clowns running the show.
Oh, okay.
Those 2 clowns over there.
That
It's almost like the first time you let your kids go off somewhere.
Yeah, that could have been
and kind of handle something. Now, I'm not talking about them being there under Nick Saban.
But it brings up interesting points all the way around, and I could talk about the effects of recruiting without a doubt. And I did have a conversation with a recruiting expert today who was at the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game practices, and he's told me some interesting stuff. We'll get to that. But so now, what does it all mean for Alabama and Auburn? Because it seems like the SEC has gotten into almost an NFL mindset of retreads. You look at the SEC, South Carolina's hire of Will Muschamp, we're going to have Dave Cloninger on in the next segment to talk about this, seems incredibly uninspired. There are a million different directions I personally would have gone before that and tried something new. But I think SEC teams are scared to get somebody outside that hadn't been in the league before. And then you look at Georgia. Okay, I love Kirby Smart. I think it could be a good hire. The operative word being could.
Yeah, we don't know. We just
because you just fired a guy who averages 9.5 wins a season for a guy you don't know what he's going to do.
That's exactly right.
And Georgia, it wasn't.
I think it was just more about the change. Look, I think it was more about.
I get it.
Mark Richt stale. Georgia was stale. And, yeah, we may be shooting ourselves in the foot or blowing our foot completely off, but we need some new blood. And, and what happens if Kirby Smart comes over there and in the first year, because we've seen a lot of coaches do great things in year one, and he gets them over the hump. And it's like, well, that's what, Mark's been great. I don't think anybody at Georgia should say a bad word about Mark Richt. I mean, he's the best coach, if not one of the best, that they've ever had over there outside of Vince Dooley and Wally Butts. But, I mean, I'm telling you, man, that is a situation where both were ready to get away from each other.
And
I really think that.
I'm just saying it's one of those be careful what you wish for.
I agree.
Moments.
I mean, he could have stayed there 5 more years and never continue. I mean, when does it end?
And we always ask the question on Sports Call. Andy always brings it up. Would you rather have Georgia's consistency or Auburn's one title and a shot at another, but some horrible, horrific lows? And Georgia may be about to answer that question for if Kirby Smart takes them over the hump. Let's say very early, and let's say they win a championship or make the playoffs or do something like that. But then they tail back off and they tank when things are. Georgia may be able to answer that question because nobody's been. Well, they've been pretty solid at 9 wins.
Well, here's the deal, and this is what I think it boils down to. It's like, how will we ever know what's beyond the horizon if we keep Mark Richt? We can stay over here and we can know he's going to get us 9 wins every year, but we're probably not going to win the East, and we're probably not going to win the SEC, which is not going to give us a shot at the national championship game. Or we can choose to part ways, take a chance. Maybe it's one of those things. How do you ever know what's beyond that wall if you never go through it?
And I can't help but wonder how much of this is predicated by the fact that you look over there and you see Alabama for starters, and you say, okay, they are living the dream right now. Like even their bad years, they have 2 losses and make the playoffs.
That's right.
And that's incredible. Okay, but take Alabama out of the picture. You look at LSU and you say, we at least have the same resources they do, probably more. We definitely have a better history. And they've won 2 national championships in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Or you look over there at Auburn and you say, they're not even the bell cow in the state, and they've got more championships than we do of late. And it's not even close. They have Heisman winners lately.
That's right. The program, I don't think, if you ask me which program, and I think you'd ask a lot of people that, and they would say, if you want to compare accolades, what you're measured off of, it's not even comparable right now. And I know Georgia's at Auburn's number for the most part on the field against one another, but the accolades, Auburn, they're whipping them right now. And and the thing is, until Alabama won this last SEC championship, Auburn in the last 10 years had more SEC championships than anybody in the conference. So, it's just the way that's the way it's shaped up for Georgia. And I think at some point in time, you got to say, status quo ain't good anymore.
Well, the thing about getting to my point is Georgia looks over there and sees all this, but I think that anybody would say, okay, I would rather have what Auburn's done recently.
All their rivals have won a national championship.
I would rather have what Florida's done. I would rather have what Alabama's done. Certainly, probably rather have what Auburn's done, and have what maybe even not Tennessee.
Well,
the Tennessee's got 1 championship, but they got some stinkers in there too.
Well, they've had a long dry spell.
And definitely LSU. But if you had a coach,
but they have won
and
since
if Nick Saban were a young man and he said, and somebody gave him the chance, you can coach any team in the SEC and just pick whatever one. He might choose Georgia because who has more resources?
The natural talent base.
And in Florida, Florida has more talent, but they have to compete with Miami and Florida State. And now South Florida is getting in there, and I know Central Florida is bad, but that's
they can
a
get
big
back,
university.
They're 62,000 strong and almost as large as Ohio State. So but yeah, I think that's what it boiled down to. But so Mark Richt's in Miami.
Yeah.
So Mark Richt's in Miami. Will Muschamp at South Carolina. And look, here's my deal. And I promise you, I love Will Muschamp at Auburn. I wanted him to come back to Auburn. But I'll be honest with you, now that I have come back down to reality and seen the results of what he was able to do this year, which was not very much at all, and for him to hop ship and go take South Carolina, I want to just jump into his mind for a second. What does he really think he's going to be able to accomplish over there? South Carolina, yeah, it's a head coaching job, but I don't know if it's the right, there are things you do, but it might not be the right thing to do at the right time. He couldn't do it at Florida, Luke. What's he going to do over in South Carolina?
It's all about perspective. Okay, you can say Will Muschamp's crazy, and I think it is. I think it's crazy for Muschamp, and I think it's crazy for South Carolina, frankly. I just don't think it's a good match. But what does it say?
The fans are distraught about it, I'll tell you that.
Are you worried at all about what it could be saying about Gus Malzahn's tenure right now? Because it looks like Will Muschamp's like, I just need to get out of here. This isn't what I thought. And Tavares Robinson, also the same way. I mean, that's a guy that I thought he was a shoo-in for the D.C. job. And it sounds like he didn't even get offered. Now, I don't know necessarily he'd be a good D.C. I don't know. I know he's a good recruiter. I know he played at Auburn. And I know that Auburn doesn't have a defensive coordinator right now, so it seemed kind of like a natural fit. He's been there with Malzahn, so you'd think maybe there's some chemistry. Does that worry you at all?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's some concern. I think that you look at the situation with him leaving and maybe not, maybe seeing the handwriting on the wall if things don't get turned around. Maybe he just felt like he couldn't afford to take that chance to be fired from a Florida and then to be part of a staff that gets fired the next year or 2 years down the line, and him being part of that. I mean, he's the common denominator. But I had somebody send me a text Sunday afternoon, a friend of mine, and they talked about the trail of, and I'll use the politically correct word, crap, that he's left behind everywhere he's been. I mean, and I don't know.
When you say he, you're talking about Robinson?
Will Muschamp.
Oh, Will Muschamp.
Will Muschamp. I mean, I'm talking about, I understand, I'm going back to the Will Muschamp thing of why he felt like he couldn't be associated with the staff anymore. But everything he's done, I mean, he's just left a bad stench behind. I mean, the way he left Florida, the way he left Auburn the first time from Texas, the way he left Texas to go to Florida. I mean, now leaving Auburn again to go to South Carolina. At some point in time, I really think this is his last stop, Luke. I don't think he's got another chance. I mean, he either does well or not. And I don't think he gets another major job anymore.
It's amazing, though, because recruits seem to like him. I mean, without Will Muschamp, Byron Cowart doesn't really look at Auburn all too well.
No, I understand. I hate that we brought his 6 tackles to the table.
I know.
I understand at the time everybody it was great. They were.
Or Jeffrey Holland, probably the same way.
It's the same thing. Or even Carlton Davis.
Carlton Davis. I don't think there's any doubt about it. So why do the recruits? How does he resonate with recruits so much?
They do just go in there and cuss everybody out. You're the coming here. I'm going to blow the house up.
I'm going to bleepity bleep bleep.
I mean, he's going to die of a stroke, dead on the field one day. I mean, seriously.
I totally agree with you. Look, it's bizarre, and again, I can't wait to talk to Dave Cloninger about this because
he's up next. By the way,
I got to understand what in the world South Carolina's thinking. I get where Georgia's going with this, but I can't understand if I'm South Carolina and I look around and you see, okay, Butch Jones, and we'll talk about him in a little bit because he may have made a misstep in the state of Alabama with Tadaro Marshall that is going to be hard to recover, at least in this state. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, he pulled the scholarship offer.
He pulled the offer, and I'll get to it. But okay, you look at Tennessee; they're talented, and I'll tell you what. At the end of the season, Tennessee is the best team in the East.
I totally agree with that.
Florida represented.
No, but they were the best.
They were the best team. So, and then you look at Florida, they're not really going anywhere. Yeah, Tre'Arn Harris is bad and all these other things, but they may be bringing Jacob Eason in, who's the number 2 quarterback in the country.
And Will Greer, too.
And Will Greer will be back after 6 games next year. Then you got Georgia. I mean, they're still Georgia. And Kirby Smart might turn it around like you mentioned.
They still got a lot of talent.
Kentucky is really good by Kentucky standards. That just means there's somebody else for y'all to fight with. And Vandy got a lot better. And Missouri, Missouri represented the East 2 straight years. I know they stunk it up this year, but hey, they've represented it more than South Carolina has, and South Carolina's been here since '92. So my point is, why don't you look at somebody like Oklahoma's offensive coordinator? He just won the Broyles Award today for Best Assistant Coach. I think that would have been a good hire.
Would have been a good
Lincoln
hire.
Riley.
Yep.
That would have been a good hire. But I look at Will Muschamp, and it's almost like South Carolina was scared to say, okay, you hadn't been in this league. If you don't know what it's like to be in the SEC.
I just think they made a bad mistake, man. I mean, and then we all may be in here 2 years from now going, "Boy, man, maybe he just needed to start over again." But I'm just telling you, I just don't see it. I don't see it when he could not do it at Florida. You cannot have all your ducks in a row and win at Florida. Okay? I mean, you cannot have everything go right and still win at Florida, but because of the talent base and where you are. He took that program from a double-digit winning program and national championship winning program to a losing record in 4 years.
Urban Meyer won. He had Urban Hernandez on there. He was running the running shoot, all right.
he brought another meaning to that. He didn't realize why everybody was slow getting up off the pile after the play. But
you know, again, Florida is a machine. It runs itself. I think you're right. I mean, you have to do some things, but he found new constructive ways to lose, and I just don't know how it's going to work out there. But I think it's very interesting. But it does have a ripple effect because that's a defensive coordinator Alabama was looking at, so he's off the table. And it was the defensive coordinator for Auburn. So he's gone. And so both of these teams have to find somebody. And I'm fine. I feel like Nick Saban will find somebody. I don't know who it is. It could be Jeremy Pruitt, who was at Georgia. Doesn't look like he's going back there. I think he's probably the leader in the clubhouse. But, Saban may have somebody else totally in mind. And then what's Alabama going to do about Lane Kiffin? Will he be back?
What a claim.
I'm
sorry. He's just watching.
I wrote about it today, and I know I don't blame everybody out there for disliking him. I have no problem with it. I mean, he's cocky, he's arrogant, I think
he's cocky. He's just stupid.
Well,
I mean, just sometimes.
But let me tell you what he's done
over there.
Let me tell you what he's done. He brought Alabama its first Biletnikoff winner, and Alabama's never even had a wide receiver really get close.
I know it.
Okay, and Amari Cooper shattered every record. He turned Blake Sims, who really was a punt returner playing quarterback, and he turned him into a record setter for Alabama. This year, he's turning Derrick Henry into a Heisman probably winner and a Doak Walker probably winner. And he's turned Jake Coker into somebody who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn early in the season, into somebody who
had to transfer. Who had to transfer after Jameis Winston left, and the job was wide open for him to take it, and he couldn't get it.
And he's threading the needle to Richard Mullaney in the SEC championship game against a pretty doggone good Florida defense. My point is, I don't blame everybody for not liking him. I totally get it. I don't blame you if you don't like Nick Saban. But you got to respect the productivity. And he's goofy. All those things are true, without a doubt.
He is goofy.
You know who he reminds me, in a sense? Joe Lee Dunn. You remember Joe Lee Dunn back in the day? Wore no socks.
Just blitz.
He just said, I got an idea. We're going to blitz right now. Well, coach, we're on offense. Still blitz. But you know what? He had pretty doggone salty defenses, didn't he?
He really did.
So some of these coordinators can be a little off kilter, but they can still be very good. And Lane Kiffin's pretty good. He may get another head coaching job. And woe to the team that hires him. But I'm telling you, it may happen.
Just wear a hoodie and shades to the next bowl game.
Yeah.
So up against the break, got a great guest coming up next. You don't want to go anywhere. Stay tuned. More Sportz Blitz Live presented by JR's and SNS Discount Tire right after this.
– 2015 is a new year, and the rules for FHA loans have changed.
If you currently have an FHA loan, call Home Place Mortgage today.
Right now, we can refinance your current FHA mortgage without an appraisal.
Your interest rate will reduce, and so will your monthly mortgage insurance.
Call us today to start saving in 2015.
If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck or a truck wreck, don't let the insurance company knock you out without taking responsibility for your medical expenses, pain and suffering, and car repair. You need a fighter. I'm a former Golden Glove champion, and I will fight for you to get the money you deserve. Call Tripp and put a fighter in your corner.
Call the Walton Law Firm at 334-321-3000 or toll free at 866-321-3330. Put a fighter in your corner.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be provided is greater than that of other attorneys. Don't let pests take your house or business over. Wave the red flag. Red Flag Pest, owned and operated by Scott Davis on Highway 280 in Jackson's Gap, is licensed, insured, and bonded, and serves the Lake Martin area, specializing in lake homes, residential property, and industrial property. Call for a free inspection today, 256-825-0430, and visit us online at redflagpestcontrol.com. Red Flag Pest Control, when the problem has to stop, guaranteed.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
It's a great time to buy a new car at McKelvey Chevrolet. Come by and check out the huge selection of new trucks and cars at McKelvey's new location on Highway 280 in Dadeville. We have an awesome new lot filled with new trucks, cars, and SUVs. Are you in the market for a new Silverado truck? The selection is huge, and so are the savings. Buyer rebates and incentives will make buying your new vehicle easier and more affordable than you think. Come on out, see the new friendly staff at the all-new McKelvey Chevrolet on Highway 280 in Dadeville. Your Lake Martin area Chevrolet dealer since 1956.
Hello, I'm Russell Building Supply.
And I'm the big box store.
Box, I don't mean to cut you short, but I've got a delivery to make.
A delivery?
Yeah, Russell delivers anywhere in the local area for free, usually on the same day, and that's on top of our low price guarantee.
Really? Free? Are you kidding me?
No, and if you prefer to pick the order up yourself, we'll load it for free.
And on the same day?
Yeah, we're really good at working on short lead times. How about you?
Yeah, I'm short.
Serving Lake Martin and Central Alabama.
You know, it's not often that Alabama wins the SEC championship. Derrick Henry is right in the middle of a Heisman discussion. Alabama and Auburn both lose some key coordinators. We're in the heat of recruiting. Alabama makes the playoff, and one of the biggest stories we're going to talk about is in Columbia, South Carolina. But we're going to have Dave Cloninger on to talk about Will Muschamp becoming the head coach of the Gamecocks. He, of course, is with the state newspaper in Columbia. Dave, how you doing tonight?
Well, not too bad, guys. How are you?
Doing great. I got to say, puzzled is one way to describe myself when I heard that Will Muschamp would be the coach at South Carolina. I'm wondering how the fans are taking the news.
Well, of course, a lot of the fans are taking it as probably did. They're wondering, why you would hire somebody who was just a complete disaster his last stint as head coach, which is only 2 years ago. Why you'd hire a guy that your team got fired 2 years ago, and why it took 54 days to find Will Muschamp. Obviously, there are some good things about him. He's a great defensive coach, and he's a great recruiter, and those two things have been bad at South Carolina for the past 2 to 5 years. But right now, everybody's still kind of scratching their head and wondering, well, you might as well get behind it because there's nowhere to go but up. But they're really just kind of hoping that it doesn't go the other way.
Okay, let's go ahead and get the negatives out of the way first. Was Will Muschamp the second, third, fourth, fifth choice? I mean, I don't think he was their first target. How many people do you think South Carolina missed on before they got to him?
He was the third choice, and this is kind of where the thing comes in, guys. It really was just circumstances and bad luck. They went after Tom Herman at Houston. I think everybody would agree that was a strong move. He decided he wanted to stay at Houston with a brand new paycheck and probably an eye on the University of Texas in the future. Nothing wrong with that. Well, USC moved on to Kirby Smart, and it pretty much was a done deal. They had everything in place. It was ready to go. And then Georgia ended up firing Mark Richt, and you lose the guy to the one school that you were going to lose him to. So really, you had those two guys which you invested 40 or so days in off the table right after the last second. So you kind of had to move on, get your arms around it, and start looking at other candidates. And Will Muschamp was the third choice, and he's the guy that wanted it, he's the guy they offered, and he's the guy that got it.
A quick question just to deviate from Will Muschamp for a second. All right, so Tom Herman is going to stay in Houston, and I know that a lot of people believe he has his eye on Texas with all the turmoil that's going on with Charlie Strong down there. Is it also that possibly Houston is getting vibes that they may be able to join the Big 12?
I mean, that's, kind of off of my radar, but I would think that that'd be something. You look at Houston, it's a huge city. It's got a great, strong base. They're winning games, and, maybe that is a consideration. And certainly it's a little bit easier to win in the Big 12 than in the SEC, although you do have to still deal with Baylor and TCU and Oklahoma. But, I mean, maybe that was a consideration. Maybe his administration told him that maybe that could happen in the future.
Okay, so let's talk about the positives Will Muschamp brings to the table. You mentioned recruiting and how it's really tailed off under Spurrier of late. That's understandable. I know he's gotten some big names like Marcus Lattimore to stay home. Obviously, Jadeveon Clowney the same way. But is Will Muschamp going to be able to really have a ripple effect in the recruiting world, do you think? Is he going to be able to turn them around?
I really think he will, just because of the staff that he's going to hire. Today it was announced he got Ellis Johnson. Of course, Ellis had a great deal of success here as South Carolina's defensive coordinator, and that's because he knows this state. He's been in it his whole life. He's coached high school ball here. He knows where the talent is, and he can get it. Also, Will Muschamp is bringing Travaris Robinson with him from Auburn. Travaris is a guy who was rated the #1 recruiter in the country just 2 years ago. And then he hired Bobby Bentley, who is a legend in the South Carolina high school community, to come back as well. So all of that will probably help. But, of course, you do have to go out in these final 2 months before signing day and try to get whatever you can. If you can just flip 1 or 2 4-stars, it's going to look like a success. And they're out there trying to do that right now.
And what else? I mean, if you were Will Muschamp's PR agent, how would you try and sell this to turn around the negative ideas that some of the fans have about him right now?
Well, you'd probably just have to say that, he learned from his mistakes. You do have to look at some things that are circumstantial from Florida. He had a lot of injuries down there, specifically the quarterback, and that's going to derail a lot of what you're trying to do. And they'll say he knows what he did wrong. He's hoping to avoid injuries. He'll have a consistent offensive coordinator and approach, and that's how they'll try to sell it. He is a Southern guy. He's from Georgia. He knows the area and how to recruit. And they'll say, well, if you can just get the players, the coach doesn't really come into play. You can just let the talent take care of itself. That's how they're going to try to present this as it goes forward.
Well, David, I really do appreciate your input. Great job covering this whole story. Let me tell you something. The good news is that you're not going to be in boring times. You're going to have a lot of interesting things coming up. There's no doubt about it. And you know what? I just brought something else to my attention here that my co-host and I were talking about earlier. Do you think there is an epidemic in the SEC right now of teams hiring retreads from the SEC, meaning do you think South Carolina was, once they got burned a little bit by Tom Herman, do you think they wanted to target somebody in the SEC who knows this conference more, no matter how their success rate had been at other schools?
I think that played a big role into their thinking. Ray Tanner not only wanted somebody with head coaching experience, but to get it from the SEC, that can only help. I mean, they know how tough this conference is, so I'm sure that maybe it's not an epidemic or what have you, but people know that if you've coached in the SEC, you've seen the best. You know how to compete with the best and how to beat the best. So why not try to get that on your staff?
David, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'm sure we'll have you on again soon towards the beginning of next season, and good luck with the Gamecocks, okay?
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
That was Dave Cloninger from the state newspaper in Columbia, South Carolina. Does a fantastic job. We've had him on before and really knows his stuff. And, man, there are interesting times in Columbia, South Carolina right now. We'll be back in just a minute with more Sportz Blitz Live.
In a world that's ever-changing, you have to be sure that your choices are the right choices. At Central Alabama Community College, you'll know you made the best choice. Whether choosing a technical degree program, taking courses to transfer to a 4-year college or university, or being a part of our national championship winning traditions, get a sharper focus on your life by choosing one of our 3 convenient locations: Alex City, Childersburg, and Talladega. Central Alabama Community College. Central to you, central to your success.
Big trucks control our highways with little to no regard for the rest of us. The U.S. Department of Transportation estimates that over 500,000 wrecks occur each year involving big trucks. If you or a loved one have been hit and injured by a big truck, then don't wait any longer. Call me today. I'll stand up to these big truck companies and I will fight for you.
What are you waiting for? Call Kenneth Ingram Jr. now.
JR Sports Bar and Grill. Mondays, all you can eat fingers, $13.25. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, all you can eat wings, $12.25. Every day, kids in uniforms eat for $1.99. Alabama Street in Alexander City and Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
At Bone and Joint Specialists, there is no better feeling than to know that we have helped make someone's life better. Orthopedic surgeons Dr. Paul Goldhagen and Dr. Martha George treat all injuries and conditions related to your bones, joints, and muscles for both adults and pediatric patients while specializing in arthritis and sports medicine. 256-329-9133 or visit us online at bonesandjoints.com. Alexander City, Wetumpka, Sylacauga, and Dadeville. Bone and Joint Specialists, getting you back into the game of life.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
This segment of Sports Blitz is brought to you by Satterfield on Highway 280 in Alex City. Satterfield is the Lake Martin area's Big Green Egg and Accessories headquarters.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and SNS. Discount Tire, Brett Pritchard, Luke Robinson here with you for about another hour tonight. Luke, that was a great interview.
I'm telling you, that we could have talked all night. And really, my only question seemingly was, what in the world was that? What did South Carolina do? I don't understand. And I mean, I get it, but that's going to be part of his job.
I think they're going to be asking that in a year.
That's going to be part of his job to try and spin this positive because, you know, as a guy that writes for the Columbia newspaper, I mean, yeah, you can be negative about it a little bit.
Well, they were negative about Spurrier, and you saw what it. I mean,
but that's what I was going to say. Eventually, you need your credentials. You need to be welcome in the locker room to hear things. You need to be able to interview coaches. So you can't just go around saying, "Well, he's terrible. He's terrible." I mean, even if he is terrible, I mean, until the writing's on the wall and you know he's out.
I totally agree.
But yeah, it's going to be, man. That's interesting times for South Carolina.
Very interesting times. Let's go to our players of the week, Luke. One of the things that we enjoy most here on our program, being able to name players of the week from throughout the central part of Alabama. We'll start the Lake Martin Area Player of the Week, sponsored by the Alabama National Guard, nationalguard.com/AL. Jamie Whitehead of Benjamin Russell High School, the Benjamin Russell wrestling team, went undefeated in Central Phoenix City tournament over the weekend. Wildcats finished second as a team, and this team, Luke, has a strong possibility of winning the state championship. I mean, probably could have given this to a number of guys. I mean, Daniel Bland had a phenomenal tournament. He's two-time defending heavyweight state champ over there. This wrestling team is loaded with some guys that came back, had great seasons last year. I wouldn't be surprised if they won the 6A championship.
I wouldn't be surprised in the least. Let's talk about the Russell Building Supply and Russell Do It Center Sports Blitz AHSA Radio Network Player of the Week, and that's Terrence Dunlap of Maplesville. I had the pleasure of calling his championship game. This kid is phenomenal, and I got bad news for everybody in 1A. He's only a junior. He finished with 260 yards and 4 touchdown runs on 24 carries and 1 catch for a 35-yard touchdown. I said, hey, they should throw it to him more. Every time he catches the ball, it's a touchdown.
Absolutely.
He's won back-to-back Super 7 MVPs in the 1A championship game.
Maplesville is a phenomenal program, and that's just something that they're going to be strong continuing on down the line next few years. Let's go over to Russell County. The Russell County Player of the Week, also sponsored by the Alabama National Guard, nationalguard.com/AL to check out the National Guard. Trip Day of Glenwood School led the Gators with 25 points and 14 rebounds in a win over Sherwood Academy, Georgia. Eclipsed 1,000 points for his career, averaging 22 points per game, 13 rebounds, and a 7-1 start there for the Glenwood Gators. So congratulations to Trip Day, man. What a career so far, eclipsing that 1,000-point mark.
The Kenneth Ingram Jr. personal injury attorney, Sportz Blitz Montgomery Area Player of the Week is Jessie Garrett from the Macon East Academy Knights. She scored 15 points and hauled in 17 rebounds to lead the Knights over Fort Dale Academy. She signed her letter of intent to play volleyball and softball at the College of Coastal Georgia in November and named a Wendy's High School Heisman finalist in volleyball, basketball, and softball. Yeah, but what else?
I mean, what else? I mean, is that all she could do? Congratulations there. Over in Lee County, sponsored also by the Alabama National Guard, Auburn girls swimming team, they captured the Lee County Player of the Week, so it's Lee County Players of the Week. Auburn High School girls swimming team repeated as state champion Saturday. Auburn's 200-yard meter, no, it's not 200 yard, 200 meter freestyle relay team comprised, we had a little bit of a typo there.
They
went yards in
than you said it.
That's exactly right. Team comprised of Maggie Casey, Annie Francis Dallas, Peyton Dowdle, and Annie Kate McGinney, won with a state record time of 1:38.27. So congratulations there, and you did swim it faster than I was able to complete.
The U.S. Ameribank Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup Player of the Week, and that's Isaiah Hicks from Dadeville. He led the Tigers with 25 points, and the last second 68-65 loss to BRHS. They got a little typo right here too.
You know what?
Typo Central over here.
Yeah, here we go, and you got one more, I believe.
I do. We're going to have the Lyman Ward Military Academy Sports Blitz AISA Player of the Week, and that's Reggie G. Or it could be Reggie Gee, like Gordon Gee, whatever. We'll go with G. Of Edgewood Academy. He scored a game-high 34 points and 15 rebounds and 8 assists in the 80-63 win over Eastwood Academy.
Absolutely. And look, our Players of the Week, remember when we used to have 2 Players of the Week, Luke? I mean, this thing is
Well, you got to expand it when you're doing so. Let me tell you something, Brett. You were talking about some Players of the Week. Let's keep it high school just for a second and talk about the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game.
Yeah.
Which you and I will be calling.
I'm going to pause you so we can come back because we're going to go to the phone real quick.
Okay.
Then we'll talk about the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game. How about that? Caller, go ahead. You're on Sports Blitz.
Hey, how you doing there?
Good. Great. How are you?
Okay. I want to talk about the development of players.
At Auburn?
Pardon me?
At Auburn, development of players at Auburn?
Well, it's in general because Auburn and Alabama, they recruit some of the same players.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that Reggie Ragland had said the other day that he was held out 2 years, but when they finally put him on the field, he was really ready to play.
I mean,
Ruben Foster also was held out 2 years, and when they put him on the field, he was ready to play. So my question is, Auburn went at Ruben Foster hard. I want to ask Brett, if Ruben Foster had gone to Auburn, where would he be at now in his development? I'm going to hang up and listen.
I appreciate your call. I don't think it would be real good for Ruben Foster.
I agree with you.
I'll be honest with you. I've got to be honest about it. I'm going to look. I'll never change my allegiance. I'll never not pull for Auburn. I'll never not be an Auburn fan. But I think what makes you better is being able to realize your imperfections and your flaws. And right now, Auburn on their player development isn't very good. I mean, it's just not. I mean, and that's got to be a deterrent for people trying to choose to come there. Now, Auburn still recruited really well. I think Auburn will finish with a top recruiting class again this year. I mean, it just is what it is. When you establish yourself at the top, people believe in you. There's not enough scholarships out there for everybody to hoard players, so you're going to get your fair share for your top program. But when you get them there, you got to do something with them. And I just have to say that, Ruben Foster was a guy that was raw, and he needed some tutelage. And I don't think he's done tremendous things at Alabama. As a matter of fact, he's played more this year than he has since he's been there. But he's still got situations where he's out of position, and he's got that reputation of being the fireball in there. It's either all or none. He shoots the gap, and he'll miss a play in the backfield. he messed up in the Ohio State game last year when Reggie Ragland ironically went out, had to go to the locker room. They stuck him in there, and that's when Ezekiel took it didn't take it to the house, but broke that long run. It really put the game away. And Reuben Foster ran in the wrong hole. So, I think he's learning, gotten better, but I don't know, because there's been so many great linebackers at Auburn that we haven't seen progress into anything. So I think that's why it's a fair thing to say right now.
Well, and I think that the point is, look, I always go back to when players say, well, early playing time. I don't know that early playing time is good for everybody. I totally agree. If Reuben Foster had gone to Auburn, he would have been a 3-year starter. Yep. There's no question about it, and he would not be anywhere near where he is now. The thing about the Ohio State, I think that speaks to his progression. Yeah, he was out of position at Ohio State, and our caller said he was held out. He wasn't necessarily held out because he had a big hit, if you remember. He was a big part of special teams for a long time. Had a big hit against Leonard Fournette. But this year, at the beginning of the year, maybe some times were shaky. Let me tell you something. I think towards the end of the year, he was more valuable than Reggie Ragland. I think against Florida, man, there was a play that Gary Danielson could not believe where he caught Treon Harris, and Harris had the angle. Harris could have gotten to the corner, and he just couldn't beat Reuben Foster. It speaks to his discipline. It speaks to his athletic ability, which you can't coach some of that.
No,
but
you can't.
What you have to instill in these guys is you just can't be. That's what he was in high school. Reuben Foster was a guy who was so much bigger and so much faster and so much stronger than everybody. He'd run through a hole, and he would either make the play of the century or somebody would score a touchdown.
That's right.
And at Alabama in the SEC, you can't do that because they'll score a touchdown every time.
Every time.
And that's what Ohio State almost did. But now that he's got some discipline behind him, I tell you what, I'm scared to death that Reuben Foster would go pro. I hope he doesn't, because I think he could step into the Reggie Ragland role for next year and be a leader. Because let me tell you something. People listen to him. They respect him. And I think that he's going to be the kind of kid that can come back and be a leader, I hope. But if he goes pro, hey, more power to him. Good luck.
It's definitely, I think it's a great call. That was an outstanding call, and it's something that Auburn's going to have to analyze, and something that Gus Malzahn's going to have to get a grip on. There's just no doubt about it.
But okay, let me play the positive Auburn guy for a minute. That I think I'm coming to join you, honey.
I'm coming to join you.
But so that's one reason I wouldn't be too wound up about Byron Cowart.
Yeah.
You only had 6 tackles this year, whatever, and he honestly. I forgot he was on the team. The number one.
I think everybody did.
Forgot he was on the team. Yeah, I don't know that he made a tackle against Alabama.
Hey,
I never noticed.
He ran after Coker and couldn't catch him.
Yeah, but so I'm wondering if maybe he's still got time. He could be okay. He could turn into something. So who knows? But just because they don't come as a 5-star and blow up the world doesn't mean that they're not good players.
No, I agree with that. Sometimes it takes things to progress. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. You and I'll be going over to call that game. Talk about the playoffs as the 4 teams have been selected, and we're heading into that here in just a few weeks. We'll be in the playoffs. So stay tuned. More Sportz Blitz Live presented by JR's and SNS Tire right after this.
I'm Sydney LaRue, a member of the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team. I'm excited to partner with Nesquik to spread the word about the proper nutrition after a workout or game. Research suggests that low-fat chocolate milk, like Nesquik, contains the ideal mix of carbohydrates to protein that can help refuel and restore exhausted muscles. That's why I refuel my body with Nesquik after tough games and practices. Refuel with Nesquik.
Refuel with Nesquik, a proud supporter of Alabama high school athletics.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
When a medical issue requires home health service, you or your loved one should expect the best.
Hello, this is Pam Tidwell with Lake Martin Home Health. We make everything we do all about you. With multiple offices in the area, we are always close to you, and our dedication is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call us at 256-397-1440 or ask your physician for a Lake Martin Home Health referral today. We make the difference because we care.
Brown Nursing Home is welcoming the new year with an expansion of our rehab department to include an additional treatment room and addition of a full kitchen. We offer physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If a serious injury or illness has taken you away from home, let our therapy team assist you in returning home to independent living. We also offer long-term skilled nursing care. Come tour Brown Nursing Home at 2334 Washington Street in Alexander City.
Did your team just win the big game? Are you looking for a unique way to honor a valuable employee? Lila's Engraving has you covered, offering a large selection of custom trophies and plaques. Lila's also offers cash and aluminum car tags, custom engraved wine glasses, clocks, and wood cutting boards. They even offer custom framing for any art or picture as well. Lila's combines the best quality items with the fastest service around. With over 27 years of experience in the Alexander City and Lake Martin areas, Lila's Engraving is your only choice for custom awards and engraved gifts. Always remember, winners choose Lila's.
Hello, I'm State Farm Agent Karen Chanel. I specialize in helping families and individuals like yourself in the Alexander City and Lake Martin communities. With over 20 years experience with State Farm and a dynamic team of licensed professionals, I am committed to helping you manage the risk of everyday life. And we not only consider it an honor, but a privilege to assist you in meeting your insurance and financial services needs. I sincerely look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Alex City Marine, the Lake Martin area's premier new and used boat and motor dealership. Find out more at alexcitymarine.com.
Back here on Sportz Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S Discount Tire. Brett Pritchard and Luke Robinson. Let's get an update here. Fourth quarter, 5:52 to go. Golden State looks like they're going to get to 23-0. They've already scored 121 points tonight.
How many does Curry have?
I don't have have that pulled up right off the top, but I can tell you this: 121 points with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. This team is phenomenal. Steph Curry, let's see, doesn't look like he's even on the floor right now, so he's been relinquished to the bench. So we'll see what he was able to put. He had 23 points tonight. That's all he had. So Thompson had 39 for Golden State. So man, I'm going to tell you, man, that this Golden State team I don't know where the season will finish, but I mean, they didn't lose more than 2 games in a row all of last year. I mean, is there anybody you see that can take them down? Let's go to the phone lines. We'll talk about it. Carl, go ahead. You're on Sports Blitz.
Hey, guys. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I just want to call and get you guys' honest opinion if you think Carolina Panthers are going to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. Realistic chances. I'll hang up. Those are your opinions.
Appreciate the call. I was going to get to the Panthers a little bit later on the program. We'll talk about them now. I mean, they've got the Falcons left twice. They've got the New York Giants. And who else do they have?
I'm pulling it up now.
I know they got the Falcons twice. They got the New York Giants left. Well, that game scares me a little bit. I think New York's got the capability. They always have that about them. The Giants they can just come up at any point in time and beat anybody. They're scary, although they've lost the last couple of games themselves. But they definitely have a team. They got the Tampa Bay Bucks.
They got the Buccaneers. They've only got 4 games left. They got the Falcons twice, the Giants and the Bucks.
So the Bucks.
And then obviously they're going to have home field. It looks like throughout. I mean, I think
that's already clinched.
Well, no, home field throughout. I don't think it's clinched necessarily because of the Cardinals. The Cardinals can't.
Yeah.
But
I don't think so, though.
I don't think they will either. That would be the thing that would scare me, though, because their schedule hasn't been incredibly daunting. But and their division is god awful. I mean, this thing is just not pretty. There's so many bad divisions. I mean, you look at what the Cowboys aren't even out of it. That tells you. But
what about that game last night?
But yes, I think the Panthers will go undefeated. I think the Falcons have about mailed it in.
They mailed it in a long time
The only loss I could see would be that Giants loss.
I see what I think.
I think that could be a good thing. The way the NFL's set up, I think the pressure of an undefeated season could come back to haunt you. It did for the Patriots, and I think that Patriots team was much better than this Panthers team. But I think that if they got beat by the Giants, it may relieve a little
it may do it. And then you look, I mean, you know you're going to clinch home field, 99% positive of that, even if you lose one game coming down the stretch.
Sure.
So, I mean, that in itself would relieve, say, look, all right, look, we know we've had everything go our way. That didn't go. Let's refocus going into the playoffs. But this is a special team, Luke. I mean, it's fun to watch. Man, they play great defense.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis. Thomas Davis still brings –
He brings the wood.
He brings the hammer, man.
Kuechly does too, man.
Kuechly, but I'm talking about Thomas Davis. When he hits you, he may be my favorite Georgia player of all time. When he played, him and Greg Blue, I've never seen safeties and linebackers hit you like those two hit. I mean, every hit, even to this day, Thomas Davis hits you, it's like an explosion.
Mm-hmm.
So, but offensively, if you look at what Cam Newton's been able to do with a very dilapidated receiving core, not very reliable, and not the best running attack in the NFL. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job being able to do what he needs to do to score points.
They just have good players that know their roles, and they seemingly know
man, is so good.
They know their limitations.
If you take Greg Olsen off that team, they're not where they are right now. I mean, he is Mr. Reliable for Cam Newton.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg. I mean, in that just shows you in the NFL there are still so many good tight ends left. Jason Witten, Greg Olsen. I mean, you can go down the list and name guys that are the man, Gronkowski, that really are the go-to guy for big-time quarterbacks in the league. New England's dropped 2 in a row. Are they going away?
No, I don't think so. I think it's all about injuries. I mean, they've lost Dante Hightower.
They've
lost
a bunch.
Several key receivers. They've lost several key running backs. And I say key running backs very loosely because I mean, they essentially don't ever run the ball. But I think that they're going to be fine when the playoffs roll back around. Tom Brady still, to me, he's the best quarterback in the business. And, I mean, I'd take him over anybody historically. I just feel like.
I mean, yeah, he's a winner.
I mean, I'm talking. Throw your Montanas in there. Throw your Namath in there. Throw your Peyton Mannings in there. Whoever you want to put in there. I'm taking Tom Brady. You can have who you want.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, go ahead. You're on Sportz Blitz.
They won the state from the Alabama football game last week.
I'm sorry?
Who won the stake?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to pull it up. Hey, Brian, I have to say something to you in the Christmas spirit. You know, we're all friends with you on Facebook. We enjoy your collage of Christmas songs every day.
I picked Alabama 35, Florida 17, and 29-15.
So but I want to go back and get your comments on the Christmas song. I think you do a great job.
Thank you, Brent.
And look, man, your punch, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you
We're
got
gonna
a
call you
good
Reggie
leg.
Roby.
You got a good leg. I mean, I've been watching you punt the football, man. I mean, those aren't shabby punts there, Brian.
Oh, they went to get the 30-yard field goal there, and it burnt in the field last month. Made it 30 yards.
30 yards.
Punt.
You got video of that?
I missed a bit. Hit upright.
And if you do have,
do you have video of that?
If
that
you
extra?
have video of it, could you send it to Adam Griffith?
He doesn't need it.
No, from 30 yards he needs it. From 50 he's fine. He missed a 7-yarder in the Georgia Dome the other day.
He was in the end zone when he
That's
took
my
it.
prediction for the Cotton Bowl.
What's your prediction? Tell us your prediction again.
Alabama 31, Michigan State 17.
Okay.
Hey, before I let you go, give us your favorite Christmas song. I mean, you throw a bunch of them out there. What's your favorite?
Mr. Grinch.
Mr. Grinch, and he said it just like it too. So, well, Brian, we appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
Brian.
I mean, let's go back to the phone lines. Well, I don't have a phone call here. I don't see it, Justin. I don't know.
There he is.
Yeah, there we go. Caller, go ahead. You're on Sportz Blitz. Maybe you're not. Let's go back again and see if we can try this one more time.
Put him on one if you can, Justin. Can you do it? Or
I may be asking too much. We lost it. So, hey, we'll take a break here when we come back. Oh, what now? You were screaming at the
I'm saying, but I got to
Hey, you called back. I think you just did. So we'll go to break and we'll come back. Hopefully we'll get this call. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live presented by JR's and S&S Tire right after this.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck or a truck wreck, don't let the insurance company knock you out without taking responsibility for your medical expenses, pain and suffering, and car repair. You need a fighter. I'm a former Golden Glove champion, and I will fight for you to get the money you deserve. Call Tripp and put a fighter in your corner.
Call the Walton Law Firm at 334-321-3000 or toll free at 866-321-3330. Put a fighter in your corner.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be provided is greater than that of other attorneys.
So, you may not know it, but you've seen our work everywhere. For a combined 50 years, Sign Source has been Central Alabama's premier option for all your sign needs. Custom signs for your business, club, or organization. Wraps and decals for your vehicle or boat. Full-color banners for your big sale, or a photo collage on canvas for grandma. All with fast, friendly, prompt service. Check out our website at signsourcenow.com. 888-533-6758. Go straight to the source. Sign Source.
What are you waiting for? Call Kenneth Ingram Jr. now.
My name is Kenneth Ingram Jr., and I will work for you. I specialize in personal injury, wrongful death cases, and business disputes, just to name a few. What you need are results, and I've been getting those results for my clients for almost 30 years. Call me today at 256-212-9700 and let me help you get what you deserve.
Kenneth Ingram Jr., champion of the common man. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Define the fabric of a team. It's not selfish. It's not boastful. It's about many, sewn together to reach one common goal. But in order to win, you must learn to work together.
This segment of Sports Blitz is brought to you by Russell Do-It Center, offering a complete assortment of lumber, building materials, electrical, and plumbing supplies. Russell Do-It Center stores deliver first-class service, top-rate products, and competitive do-it-best pricing.
Welcome back into Sports Blitz Live. Luke Robinson here. Now I want to welcome in Cole Kublik, who is a radio host for 730 The Ump in Huntsville. He's also part of the Alabama Media Group as an analyst with them. And, of course, he's a former Auburn player. He always has very honest opinions and very truthful opinions about what is going on in the world of football in the state of Alabama. Cole, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm great, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks for being on with us. Okay, so let's forget that Will Muschamp going to South Carolina. We just had Dave Cloninger on from the state in Columbia, talked all about South Carolina and the choice to hire him, et cetera. What does Auburn do now for a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, that's the question that a lot of folks want an answer to. And I'm a little surprised that Gus Malzahn is obviously a little taken back by this. I feel like when you made that hire, especially knowing that you didn't back up that contract with some sort of a buyout that would help you out, or at least help you understand, because people would have to look into buying that contract out, give you some time to prepare, that this was a possibility. I didn't expect Will Muschamp to be at Auburn more than 2 years. I was fully prepared for him to leave after one. If he got offered a head coaching vacancy, I think this would be a totally different deal as far as how negative this was on Malzahn or Auburn or the Auburn program if he's taken the DC job at Georgia or Alabama. I think that's a totally different deal, and we would be having a totally different conversation. This is just a great career move for Will Muschamp, and if we should be surprised about anything, it's that a guy that was just fired from Florida who couldn't find a way to move the football and couldn't get bowl eligible his last year in Gainesville is now a head coach in the SEC again, and a head coach in the SEC East again. So it's a little surprising to me that South Carolina was willing to go ahead and make that move now, especially considering the amount of time that Ray Tanner had with Steve Spurrier stepping down midseason. You feel like when it's teed up for you that way, you should be able to go out and make a home run hire. Rich Rod took a close look. He turned him down. They weren't impressed with Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma, so they turned him down, and a few other candidates that were sort of, evaluated or taken a look at, really just did not show the interest that South Carolina was hoping, so they settled for Will Muschamp. It's the big issue that we always have with coaching changes every year. If you're going to make a move, you better have the next guy in line ready. You better have somebody lined up to come in and take over. I think Georgia did it exactly the way that you want to do it. Not that I agree with Mark Richt being pushed out. It's never going to be okay with me to take somebody who's been to 15 bowl games in 15 years and won 9 or more games 8 out of 15 years and a couple SEC titles, and all of a sudden say, you know what, you got a chance to win 10 games again this year, you're out. However, the powers that be in Athens, Georgia knew and had discussions and were probably waiting on Kirby Smart, and the time had come. And they were made aware that if you would like to make this move, it's going to need to be this year, or he's going to finally make that step and take a head coaching job, and that could end up being the deal for 10 or 15 years, and you'll miss out on this. So Georgia, in my opinion, looked at it as, we might be great with Mark Richt for the next 3 to 5 years. We think we can be great with Kirby Smart for the next 10 to 15 years. We need to make this move now for what's better in our football program. Therefore, I look at that as being done the right way. Now, was Ray Tanner caught off guard a little bit with the way Spurrier handled it? Yes. I don't think Steve handled it exactly the way that he needed to, but I still have a ton of respect for him, and I think he's one of the greatest coaches in college football history. But I don't think we should make any mistake about it, that they did settle a little bit for Will Muschamp. He has a chance to be a good coach in the SEC. I think he'll be as good of a coach as the staff that he puts together there in Columbia.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, do you think the SEC has a problem with just hiring SEC guys? Do you think that maybe South Carolina got a little gun-shy after Tom Herman turned them down, apparently, to stay at Houston? And then, they did turn to Kirby Smart, but he's a SEC lifer. Then they go to Will Muschamp, a guy who's already been an SEC coach and been fired. You look at some of the other SEC hires of late, it seems like this conference just likes to hire people who have been a part of this conference.
No, I think that it's it definitely has a small feel of incest, I guess, if you will. And
insert your own joke here.
I think that goes to part of the arrogance of the conference and the arrogance of the fans and the people who are involved in the conference. And just try to go, and you guys are in Gadsden, Alabama, try to go anywhere and have a real conversation about not should Christian McCaffrey win the Heisman, just try to make an argument that he deserves to be mentioned as a possible winner for the Heisman. And you will be shot down immediately and told you're crazy, and you won't even be able to have that conversation with 90% of the people on the street. Try to go tell people that the Big Ten is a better football conference than the SEC this year, and the Pac-12 might be a better conference top to bottom. You're not going to get far having that conversation. So it's the arrogance, it's the confidence, it's the egotistical swagger that fans, supporters, boosters, students, alumni all have in this part of the country. And to an extent, we earned it, and we earned the right to feel that way. But you have to continue to earn that right. And it's king of the hill in college football, and you're going to have to fight to stay on top. And let's be honest, the SEC the last 2 years hasn't necessarily done that the way they did the previous decade. So if Alabama were to go out in round one this year, I think you're going to see more and more people jumping on that bandwagon of the SEC is maybe not what we thought it was, and that decade of dominance has come and gone. We're looking at a new even playing field across the landscape of college football.
And I totally agree with your descriptions of SEC and SEC fan bases, the arrogance, the egotistical nature of all the fans. But it's one of the reasons that we're the most colorful fan base and we're the most fun fan base. And that's probably also egotistical and arrogant. But let's turn to Alabama for just a second. Where are they going to go for their defensive coordinator? Is it Jeremy Pruitt or bust?
No, I don't think so. I think Mel Tucker has a shot at it. I think he's a guy that wants the job. I think he's someone who Nick Saban really respects. And I think you look at what he did with that secondary this year, and you have to be impressed. I think that it's tough for us to ever say it's going to be A, B, or C with Nick Saban because he's as well connected not only in the collegiate ranks but in the NFL ranks also. And if there's an NFL secondary coach or coordinator or even former head coach that wants to get back into the college game on that side of the football, he'll be able to make that phone call. I mean, you have to think about the kind of staff that Nick Saban has and puts together. It's the largest staff in college football, whether it's analysts, whether it's off-the-field guys who are studying film, graduate assistants, player development guys. I mean, there's a gentleman named Joe Pausick who was the defensive coordinator at Indiana. I know Indiana's not a football powerhouse right now, but he was the D coordinator at a Big Ten school, and he took an off-the-field position with Alabama a few years ago. Did it for 2 years, and then went back in, and he actually got his D coordinator job back at Indiana. But that shows you kind of the power of the staff at Alabama and what people are dealing with there and just how different it is. So if this is a name that maybe we're not familiar with or we don't recognize or know, don't be surprised because if you go back to the press conferences last week and you hear Nick Saban discuss how he found Kirby Smart and what it was about Kirby Smart that he liked that originally got him on his staff, I think a lot of this will depend on how many years does Nick Saban realistically believe that he has left. Does he need someone who can come in and inject life and sustain for the next 2 to 3 years? If so, maybe a Mel Tucker or bringing Jeremy Pruitt back is the right move. If Nick Saban thinks he can go another 6, 8, 10 years, then maybe he goes a little bit younger. He goes a little bit more high risk, knowing he's going to have to work more with the defense to bring someone in and groom them, train them, help them understand things. Then it could be a guy that maybe we're not expecting that could be a more dominant defensive coordinator year 5, 6, and 7 than he is years 1 and 2.
Well, Cole, thanks so much for your perspective. We really do appreciate your being on the program. I know you do a great job on your radio show there at 7:30 The Ump, and we also enjoy everything you do. I got to listen to you sometimes on Jocks, and you just do a fantastic job.
Well, most people in North Alabama would disagree with you about me doing a good job every day, but I appreciate the kind words nonetheless.
Hey, look, if they're not talking about you at all, that's when you know you're not doing a good job.
That's what they keep telling me, so I guess I'll continue to run with that.
All right, buddy. Hey, come back and join us again sometime, okay?
Anytime. I enjoyed it.
That was Cole Kowaliga from 7:30 The Ump and part of the Alabama Media Group. He really does do a good job, and he does always speak the truth, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. So appreciate Cole Kowaliga being on with us tonight. We're going to be back in just a minute with more Sportz Blitz Live.
Bradbury Medical Equipment serves the Lake Martin area's needs with durable medical equipment and respiratory care. Bradbury Medical Equipment is home-owned and operated, providing skilled, qualified, and professional people to set up and deliver all of their equipment. Bradbury Medical Equipment provides 24-hour service and will file all insurance claims, making claims trouble-free. Located on Airport Drive in Alexander City, Bradbury Medical Equipment, a history of neighborly care. Call them today at 256-215-8654.
Attention drivers, J&M Tank Lines is currently looking for local and over-the-road Class A CDL drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Our over-the-road drivers are home at least twice a week and can make $1,250 or more each week. You don't need a hazmat or tank endorsement. We also offer health insurance as low as $9 per week and many other great benefits. So come join the winning team. J&M Tank Lines. Call Jeff Sandlin today at 256-245-3933.
C&T Electric offers a wide range of installation and electrical repair services, as well as 24-hour emergency services. Our knowledgeable experts only use quality parts and electrical fixtures that we feel confident in putting our brand name behind. You're the most important person in our business, and we strive to exceed your expectations with every interaction. At C&T Electric, we're dedicated to providing you with the service you deserve and the quality you expect.
No pest is too big or too small for Lex Wedgeworth Pest Control. Protect your home or business today from insects, termites, mosquitoes, and more. Lex uses only the latest state-of-the-art technology and equipment to solve your pest problem, including the environmentally friendly Centricon termite baiting system. Lex has been servicing the Lake Martin area for over 35 years, and he has a full staff on hand. Call Lex today, even if it's just a question. 256-234-6162. Lex Wedgeworth Pest Control. Smart solutions to your pest problems.
Hi. We're looking for insurance.
Oh, let's see who's free.
Jerry?
When insurance agents work for only one company, their options are simply limited. But a Trusted Choice independent agent is free to shop many companies for a better deal. Free to do what's right for you.
Did your team just win the big game? Are you looking for a unique way to honor a valuable employee? Lila's Engraving has you covered, offering a large selection of custom trophies and plaques. Lila's also offers cast aluminum car tags, custom engraved wine glasses, clocks, and wood cutting boards. They even offer custom framing for any art or picture as well. Lila's combines the best quality items with the fastest service around. With over 27 years of experience in the Alexander City and Lake Martin areas, Lila's Engraving is your only choice for custom awards and engraved gifts. Always remember, winners choose Lila's.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz, presented by JR.
Welcome back.
That's
wait,
you.
Wait a minute, no, just keep talking. I was gonna
ventriloquist.
I was gonna just, yeah, that would have been cool.
There you go. I mean, that would have been the first time ever for that, right? I think we're still here, so we're going to continue to talk. There we are. I mean, it's amazing the magic of cameras when you come back. But anyway. It's always something on this show, I tell you. But it's a lot of fun. Cole Kublik did a great job there. He is always informative to have on. We've had some great guests on here tonight, Luke. About 25 minutes or so left in the program.
All right, let me get some quick hitters now, because we got a bunch to cover.
Yeah, we have.
But, okay, first of all, I want to go to the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. Hopefully everybody will listen to us. We're going to be bringing you that game noon on Saturday. It's going to be in Hattiesburg this year.
It is.
And interesting, it's in Mississippi. I heard some various things about that. Hattiesburg, hey, we'll take it for what it is. It had been at Crampton Bowl. It actually was at Ladd Peoples. We were just talking about, we did it at Ladd Peoples many moons ago. And, this is always a fun event. It really is. We get to meet we have seen some superstars that you would know very, very well through the years. And so looking forward to it. A couple of things I've heard about practice. First of all, the Alabama offensive line, probably not a vintage Alabama All-Star offensive line. There is one guy named Deontay Brown from Austin High School. He's playing very, very well. I've heard he's committed to Alabama right now. But other than that, it's very hit or miss right now. That's a problem for Alabama because the Mississippi defensive line is super strong. Really, really good Mississippi defensive line.
Mississippi feels like this is one of their best shots to win.
I think it is too. Now, even though Alabama's got two solid quarterbacks, Ty Pigram, of course, from Clay Chalkville, and then Tyler Johnson from Spanish Fort. They just played each other for a state championship. Ty Pigram will be the starter because he's more mobile.
I'm going to be interested. I've seen Tyler Johnson a lot. I've seen Ty Pigram a lot. But I'm going to be interested to see how Tyler Johnson plays in this game with what he's going to be facing across the way. I mean,
it's going to be tough.
It is. I mean, he's a guy that's never lost a football game ever when he's gone on the field. And, I mean, that says a lot right there. And he's faced some really good football teams, don't get me wrong. But it's different when you're facing an all-star team when you got D1 talent across the board. And Mississippi's loaded this year on defense.
Well, let me talk about a few guys that are there. Ben Davis looks the part. Marlon Davidson looks the part. Mac Wilson looks the part. Quinnen Williams, the guy who was committed to Auburn at one time, now committed to Alabama. He's really taken off a little bit of weight, and he apparently looks the part. All four of those guys. You know, the one thing that the common theme running through everybody right now is they don't really know what's up. I mean, Marlon Davidson, yes, he's committed to Auburn, probably going to stay that way, but he's curious because now you see Kirby Smart's you love Kirby Smart at Alabama, and so you're interested in Alabama. Now he's at Georgia, and your interest is peaked in Georgia, and that's true for Ben Davis. That's true for Mac Wilson. It's true for all of them. I mean, they're a little bit confused because the coaching carousel has them sort of wondering, okay, what is really right for me? And I think that goes for anybody committed to Alabama or Auburn. I wouldn't put anybody in permanent ink just yet.
No, heck no.
So I think it's going to be an interesting time. I can't wait to get down there and interview some of these guys. The running back situation, LaMichael Piron, he's still looking at Alabama, but I mean, Florida's been recruiting him. He's been committed to Florida for quite some time. Will he pass up an opportunity there? That's the team that offered him early.
Here's a trend that we've seen the last few years in this game. Is that Mississippi has shut the gates to their state and kept all their players in. And what they have done is been able to come over and get some really good players from the state of Alabama, whereas it used to be the opposite. It used to be Alabama keeping the gates shut and us going over and able to get a lot of the key players out of Mississippi. And that's a trend that's been a little disturbing the last couple of years, I'll be honest.
Well, Mississippi State's done a phenomenal job of that, and they're going to keep doing that as long as Alabama and Auburn are recruiting more nationally. And then you look in here, you got a guy like Keith Mixon, and you say, well, Alabama and Auburn aren't recruiting him. And I think Keith Mixon is going to be a good player for Mississippi State, of course, from Shades Valley last year. Everybody knows how much I thought of that kid. But Tadero Marshall from Leeds, he wasn't invited to the game initially, but there's a kid from Scottsboro who decided, hey, I want to go back and play basketball on my team, whatever. So he leaves, and they invite him to come over.
Can we talk about the Tadero Marshall situation?
Yeah, because that's where I was going with this. Tadero Marshall had been committed to Tennessee since, last March, last April?
Been a long time commitment.
He finds out he doesn't even have an offer there anymore, and there are conflicting stories. Apparently, Tennessee's story is, we don't think he's going to make the grades, so we're not going to give him a scholarship. And Tadero Marshall's story is, my grades are going to be okay. And I think this could really affect the way Butch Jones is able to recruit in the state.
No, I totally agree with that.
Tadero Marshall's got some cred in this state. He's
been
doing
the first
it for a
thing
long
that
time.
the first thing I thought about this morning when I heard that is that, you know, you come in a natural rival state like Alabama, and you get a pretty good kid to commit to you, and then you pull the offer on him here a couple months out from signing day, and it doesn't look good. I mean, sometimes whether you feel like the fit's right or not, down the line, you offered him early, he accepted early, he's been loyal to you, which doesn't happen a lot now in recruiting, that you stick with that guy just for maybe future guys and what he could bring to the table with other recruits in the state of Alabama. But Butch Jones decides that's not what he wants to do, and he pulls the plug on that deal. And now you're looking at a situation where does Tadero Marshall end up now? We've got some great kids in this state that have flown under the radar, Luke, and I know we've talked about Tyree Gray on this program, but if you want to pull the numbers, you can. I mean, you can see what he's done his last 2 seasons at Benjamin Russell. And, Jason Caldwell pushed out some highlights this past week during the Super 7. A phenomenal athlete, able to rush for 1,800 plus yards, and being able to throw the ball the way he's improved on throwing the football. He's just a playmaker. On the field, he could play slot receiver, defensive back, probably could play quarterback for several schools out there. It's just interesting to see some of these guys that just have not gotten the looks and the offers, but may end up before it's all said and done getting them.
Well, it's funny you bring up Tyree Gray. That was my thought. Okay, the reason Daryl Marshall's getting to go to this game is because another guy left, and that happens a lot. And then P.J. Blue, a kid who's at Parks Crossing, he's not going to be able to play because of an undisclosed injury, and they're bringing in a guy named Zoe Bridges from Opelika. Well-deserved, who's a Troy commit. But I wonder if maybe one more guy leaves, maybe he does get in there. Man, and if he does, but it's funny, Brett, we're talking about...
But now you're already at Tuesday. I mean, you're looking at Wednesday tomorrow. I mean, you're not...
You got Alabama and Auburn. We can get onto them for overlooking him all we want to, but apparently he doesn't even have a Troy commit offer, which is or UAB and the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game didn't think they should invite him. And so it's not just the two schools that we pull for overlooking him, it's everybody. And so I'm trying to figure out what it is we're missing about Tyler.
I don't know, man. I really don't. I encourage people to go look at the film out there.
I agree.
I don't. And you saw him in person a couple of times finally toward the end of the season, and you were like, I remember you on the scoreboard show that night and say, look, I've heard what Brett and Randy said, but I finally got to go see him and look, man, he is what they say he is. And he is a tremendous, tremendous player. But we're up against another break. We come back, we'll continue these discussions. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR's and SNS Discount Tire right after this.
Bucks Island is one of the oldest boat dealers in Alabama, serving boaters since 1948 with the largest boat showroom in the state. Bass boats featuring Skeeter, cruisers and sport boats featuring Monterey, pontoons featuring Crest, G3 and Voyagers, powered by Mercury and Yamaha. Bucks Island has sold over 10,000 boats and with a full service and parts and accessories department to keep your boat in top condition. Don't buy a boat till you get a Bucks quote. Visit Bucks Island on Highway 77 in Southside or online at bucksisland.com. Give them a call at 1-800-I'm-READY. Bucks Island, where our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Hello, I'm Russell Building Supply.
And I'm the big box store.
Box, I don't mean to cut you short, but I've got a delivery to make.
A delivery?
Yeah, Russell delivers anywhere in the local area for free, usually on the same day, and that's on top of our low price guarantee.
Really? Free? Are you kidding me?
No, and if you prefer to pick the order up yourself, we'll load it for free.
And on the same day?
Yeah, we're really good at working on short lead times. How about you?
Yeah, I'm short.
Serving Lake Martin and Central Alabama.
Excitement awaits you on beautiful Lake Martin. Alex City Guide Service can provide you with a charter trip of a lifetime. Licensed charter guide David Hare has over 20 years of experience on Lake Martin, specializing in live bait fishing for trophy-sized saltwater striped bass, largemouth bass, and spotted bass. Call Alex City Guide Service today at 256-401-3089 or visit them online at www.alexcityguideservice.com.
At the Medicine Shop, we're dedicated to the idea that quality pharmacy care means more than just prompt prescriptions. When you come to the Medicine Shop Pharmacy, you'll be able to count on dependable care from a knowledgeable pharmacist. The Medicine Shop is the only compounding pharmacy in the area, and we offer the shingles vaccine year-round. Bring your prescriptions by the drive-thru on Airport Drive in Alex City, or input them online at www.medicineshop.com, or call them at 256-215-8014. The Medicine Shop, caring beyond prescriptions.
We are Steel, German-engineered chainsaws and landscape products.
The majority of which are made here in America by Americans.
And exported to over 90 countries around the world.
Find out why Steel is #1 in America at steelusa.com.
Find your Steel outdoor products and more at the new Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and SNS Discount Tire. A very short segment as we'll have Brian Matthews on to close out the show. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, go ahead. You're on Sports Blitz.
Hey, fellas. How y'all?
Doing good. What's up?
This is Bo, man.
Hey, Bo. What's going on, man?
All right, what about that Leeds Greenway, bro?
Strong, man, strong. Trey Nation, I love that guy. I don't know where he's going to end up in college, but he's going to make somebody happy.
Yeah, I was wondering if you heard anything about him. Anybody recruiting him?
Yeah, I mean, there are some schools.
Cincinnati?
Cincinnati is in your Purdue's
Louisville.
and your Memphis's and your Louisville's. But, I mean, look, and he's not the fastest kid in the world. He may not have
good,
SEC
though.
speed.
Man, he's good.
But you know who he reminds me of? And that's LaRon McClain, who played at Alabama. And Tim Castile, kind of a combination of those two.
Yeah. Well, what's this about TD, man? I mean, they said he ain't making the grades or something.
Well, that's one story that's out there as to why Tennessee dropped his offer.
We don't have any confirmation.
We don't have any confirmation of it.
I heard that they were offering someone else a scholarship because they wanted him more.
I'd be willing to bet that's
Well, I'm
going
to tell you something. A lot of times when colleges pull offers, they come up with some reason why they feel like it's not going to work out, and you don't really know what the truth is.
Yeah. All right. What about our defensive coordinator? Do you have any idea who it's going to be?
I don't right now. I mean, there's been some names kicked around. Kelly apparently is going to stay at Florida State. It looked like that was who Gus Malzahn really wanted to go after, but that's not going to be the case. I mean, Jeremy Pruitt's name's still in the hat. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, Bo. It's going to be a wait and see for us.
Yeah, what about this Ruffin dude? Is he any good?
Well, yeah, you're talking about the coach who was just fired from East Carolina. I'd be hard-pressed to think that he'd take that position, number one, because I'd be willing to bet he gets another head coaching job. East Carolina may have made a mistake.
Yeah, no. All right, buddy.
Thank you, Bo.
Hey, man, we appreciate you, brother.
All right, God bless. Merry Christmas.
Hey, same
buddy,
to you, brother. And we're going to go to break real quick, and when we come back, Brian Matthews and Andy Graham will close out the show here in the Auburn Blitz. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live presented by JR's and SNS Tire right after this.
"2015 is a new year, and the rules for FHA loans have changed.
If you currently have an FHA loan, call Home Place Mortgage today.
Right now, we can refinance your current FHA mortgage without an appraisal.
Your interest rate will reduce, and so will your monthly mortgage insurance.
Call us today to start saving in 2015.
Show Enough Barbecue. Since 1990, we've been serving you the finest barbecue in Alexander City. Gerald believes in cooking fresh meat daily, and the secret to that is, I'm not going to tell you. Show Enough is just not about barbecue, but also known for fresh vegetables and homemade pies. That's where I come in. I'm Linda Sanford, better known as the Pie Lady. We also do catering. For more information, give us a call at 234-7675.
Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is the Lake Martin area's complete automotive solution. At Walls, you'll find a dedicated staff offering top quality service from routine maintenance to a full engine overhaul and everything in between. Brian Walls and the folks at Walls Tire are local folks that you know, and they provide the best service, always at a fair price. Find out what the rest of the Lake Martin area already knows. Walls Tire is the Lake Martin area's complete automotive solution. Just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
Right now, Jacob is only thinking about this game. He's not thinking about the clavicle injury he sustained last football season, or the subsequent surgery and weeks of physical therapy. He's back in the game. With 3 orthopedic surgeons and a department dedicated to physical therapy, rehabilitation, and sports medicine, Russell Medical Center gets you back in the game for another winning Wildcat season. Orthopedic medicine at Russell Medical Center.
Let me tell you about Satterfield. Check out the beautiful showroom at Satterfield on Highway 280 in Alexander City. They have a great selection of outdoor grilling lines for your entertainment needs. Name brands like Big Green Egg, Lynx, Blaze, and Sabre are just a few. How about those grill basins? Also, lawn equipment by Shindawa, Echo, and Husqvarna. Power tools by Makita, and a great line of Carhartt clothing. All of this in one location. Satterfield on Highway 280 in Alexander City. Stop by and visit today. Satterfield.
When you need plumbing service, call on the professionals at A&M Plumbing LLC.
For over 20 years, our mission has been to provide the best possible service available in the industry, and we specialize in solving difficult problems. We offer a wide range of services, such as installation, service, repair, and replacement of common fixtures, water heaters, toilets, faucets, drains, sewer lines, and septic tank pumping and cleaning services. Unlike many companies, our septic tank services include field line testing. Our knowledgeable staff will be happy to answer any of your questions. So call A&M Plumbing LLC today.
AuburnSports.com. Brian, how is everything today?
It's going pretty good. Good to be in as always.
Good to hear from you. It's been kind of a busy week. We all, I guess, assumed and that Will Muschamp was not going to be back at Auburn, but with all the reporting. But it's official now. He will succeed Steve Spurrier there as the next head coach at South Carolina. We were kind of discussing it beforehand. Was it worth it to hire Will Muschamp just for this 1 year? I mean, looking back, and it's, hindsight's always, what was it? Pat Dye said hindsight's 50-50, but
yeah.
Was it worth it to hire Will Muschamp?
That's a good question now. I think at the time it was an absolutely great decision. And I don't think there's any doubt that Auburn's defense got better. I think the recruiting on the defensive side of the ball is much improved. And, I think the defense is headed in the right direction. So I think he made a positive impact while he was here. But certainly you would have liked to have him for more than 1 year. And, you hope that you get somebody in here that can continue what he started and not have to restart again with a new system and looking for a different type of player. So that's, Coach Malzahn's job to go out there and find somebody like that. I think it'd be a big mistake to bring in a different type of guy, a guy that runs a different system and have to start over again.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, I know a lot of people had speculated that possibly this was an opportunity for Tavares Robinson to be offered the job as DC. Obviously, there was mention that DJ Durkin might offer him the job at Maryland. Obviously, he worked with him if he felt like he was ready. Will Muschamp I don't know if it's official, but everybody seems to think that T-Rob is going with him, and he will be the DC at South Carolina. Was he offered the job? Do you know? And would that have been a good idea?
I think it would have been a great idea, and I did not think he was offered the job outright. And we'll see what goes down, but I think that could end up being a mistake because you offer T-Rob the job, you keep that continuity here. You're going to run the same system. You keep a guy here that knows these players and knows these recruits, is going to impact positively on this recruiting class and on a lot of these young guys that brought in that played so much this year. So that's the decision Malzahn made. And, you certainly can't blame T-Rob for getting a chance to be a defensive coordinator. That's a big step up in his career, and I think he's earned it, and I think he'll do a terrific job. I'm a little disappointed it's not going to be at Auburn, but he'll be at a good SEC school and under a really good head coach.
You talk about the relationship and the recruiting, how it's picked up. How big of an effect is this going to have with Muschamp and T-Rob both? And I don't know. I guess maybe possibly Lance Thompson as well leaving. How is this going to affect recruiting, do you think? I mean, is this going to destroy this class, or is there a possibility that he can salvage it?
Yeah, I don't think destroy is a good word for it. Or salvage, really. I mean, as far as I know, nothing's really happened so far. Everything is status quo. The big thing is to get somebody in, this week because Auburn's got a big recruiting weekend. A number of their commitments and top targets are going to be early enrollees. This is the last weekend for those guys to be in for official visits until the dead period hits. So this is a really big week to get everything done. So, it just depends on what happens, who they bring in, how he hits it off with some of these guys, they could keep things rolling with the right guy. It just really depends on what happens. But I don't think it's ever going to be in a situation for Auburn where, it totally falls apart. You still got Ronnie Gardner here out there recruiting. Lance Thompson is still here at this time. So far, Muschamp's been gone several days and nobody's decommitted, so that's a good sign too.
Well, you talk about that, and how important is it that Auburn hire a guy before the dead period?
I think it's vital. I think it needs to be done as soon as possible. these are important days to be out recruiting. With at least 10 commitments, or around 10 commitments. Well, there were 10. I'm not sure about Sean Manning. He was diagnosed with cancer, and we're not sure if Woody Barrett can make it in time. But with 8 to 10 current commitments being early enrollees, and then several other top targets, you've got to have a D coordinator in here, or you really need to have one in here to make sure you get all these guys signed up and in school and ready to go. And you want to get that D coordinator face-to-face with these guys. Of course, you can wait and hire them, and you can talk to them over the phone, but it's not the same as meeting them face-to-face. I think it'd be really important for him to find a guy and get him in here this week.
What do you think the chances are that Lance Thompson does leave?
I don't know. I think he would love to be the coordinator. I don't know if he's I'd call him a candidate yet, but I think it's a possibility. And we'll just have to wait and see. He was the guy that Will Muschamp brought with him to Auburn, and so far has not brought him away to South Carolina. So I'm really not sure what Lance's plans are right now.
Well, Brian, it's Gus is pretty tight-lipped about these things with his CIA background. So, who do you think some legitimate candidates are for this job?
There are only 2 legitimate candidates I know of right now. That's Charles Kelly, the Florida State defensive coordinator, and Jeremy Pruitt, the Georgia defensive coordinator. And Jeremy Pruitt, of course, with Georgia firing Mike Rick and bringing in Kirby. He's going to be Kelly is a guy that has some Auburn ties. That is also in demand. USC has shown interest in him too, and he's either going to be up for a big race at Florida State or be able to get a big race at either USC or Auburn. So I think he's a guy that Auburn is talking to and would be really interested in hiring.
How hard of a sell do you think this defensive coordinator position he is right now at Auburn with, I guess the play on the field the last couple of years, it's kind of backed everybody into a corner to kind of say that this is a make or break year in 2016. It could be a 1 year kind of thing.
Yeah, it does make it more difficult because coaches want security, and you take Kelly for example. If he stays at Florida State, he's in a great position. I don't think Jimbo is going to get fired. He may leave for another job, but he's in a good position there. And at USC, they've got a first year coach. So if we went there, he'd be in a good position for several years. And, at Auburn, you don't know what's going to happen. You think that Gus is going to be able to turn things around quickly, but you just don't know. And so to get a guy like Kelly, they're probably going to have to offer him a multi-year contract with a fairly big buyout, give him a little security. I'm sure that'll be part of it.
Well, Auburn got a commitment from Joey Gatewood for the 2018 class. That is a ways away, but can you talk a little bit about this quarterback?
Well, I really like the way Auburn has lined things up for their quarterback recruiting. Joey Gatewood, he's still a really young guy. He's still kind of raw. He hasn't come close to reaching his potential yet, but if you just watch him on video, he'll remind you a lot. Just his size, his movements of younger Cam Newton. And I'm not going to say he's ever going to get that good. We'll see. But
Over the years, S&S Tires has grown into the Lake Martin area's largest volume tire dealer. S&S Tire offers the industry's best brand names: Michelin, Goodyear, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Firestone, and much, much more. The tire pros at S&S offer professional installation and the region's best price. In addition to your tire needs, S&S offers full automotive mechanical work for all your vehicle maintenance and repair needs with the area's most experienced staff. Visit either of our 2 locations on Cherokee Road in Alex City or at South Street in Dadeville. At S&S Tire, we're installing peace of mind for every customer we serve. Every job, every day.
Welcome to Baumhauer's, food fans.
It's game on, starting with a cup of homemade gumbo and cold beer on tap from our lively bar, coupled with a mouth-watering top-choice steak.
Oh, man, always fresh, always popular, hot Bama Brown and Alabama wild shrimp, hot off the grill. That'll be tough to beat.
If you haven't been to Baumhauer's lately, you're really missing out on all the action.
Baumhauer's, legendary food, legendary fun.
Big trucks control our highways with little to no regard for the rest of us. The U.S. Department of Transportation estimates that over 500,000 wrecks occur each year involving big trucks. If you or a loved one have been hit and injured by a big truck, then don't wait any longer. Call me today. I'll stand up to these big truck companies and I will fight for you.
What are you waiting for? Call Kenneth Ingram Jr. now.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
The college football season is winding down, but you can still see some serious football at the Birmingham Bowl at historic Legion Field when the Auburn Tigers take on Memphis December 30th. This holiday season gives the gift of serious football. Tickets to see Auburn take on Memphis start at just $30. Don't miss the action when the Auburn Tigers take on Memphis in the Birmingham Bowl on December 30th at Legion Field. For tickets or information, visit birminghambowl.com. The Birmingham Bowl. Southern hospitality, serious football.